Hey there guys, John Campea here. Thanks for visiting my movie vlog and drama in the world of Star Wars. Something that used to be solid and consistent and as true as the North Star. We've been seeing a lot of drama in Star Wars lately, and it continues today, as it has been announced officially that Star Wars Episode 9 director Colin Trevorrow has left the project or has been removed, depending on how you choose to look at it. This, of course, coming on the heels not so long ago of Lucasfilm parting ways with Lord and Miller on the Han Solo movie. Now they've lost or got rid of another director in Colin Trevorrow. The report in Variety had this to say: Lucasfilm and Colin Trevorrow have mutually chosen to part ways on Star Wars Episode 9, the statement said. Colin has been a wonderful collaborator throughout the development process, but we have all come to the conclusion that our visions for the project differ. We wish Colin the best and will be sharing more information about the film soon. That comment, of course, coming from Disney regarding the fate of Colin Trevorrow. Now, a lot of people are going to understandably jump to the assumption that this has something to do with the performance and the overall quality of the film Book of Henry that Colin Trevorrow put out recently. I thought that movie was a gutsy movie. He tried some things. He took risks. But when you take risks, they don't always work out. So on one hand, you can't tell filmmakers, oh, come on, be more edgy, take more risks. But then, crap all over them if they do take risks and they don't work out. But, a lot of people point to the box office flop that it was. That didn't quite turn out to be the best movie that they wanted, and has turned out to this. Now, this whole thing about us having different creative visions, this is now the second time. Now, these aren't exactly the same scenarios as the Lord and Miller situation, okay? The Lord and Miller situation on Han Solo was literally a scenario of two directors who were deviating far away from the movie they had all agreed upon to make, and were literally trying to hijack the Han Solo movie, getting away from the script and turning it into something that Lucasfilm never wanted it to be, a slapstick comedy. They never wanted that, and that's not the movie they agreed to make, and so Lucasfilm had to step in and remove them. I can't help but wonder if at this point, somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, while I admire her greatly, she's only human. If Kathleen Kennedy is still very kind of tender and sensitive about that situation, as I'm sure any of us would be, that they just had with Lord and Miller, and maybe seeing some creative differences that they're starting to have with Colin Trevorrow, just decided, you know what? We can't get 3 months into production of Star Wars Episode 9 and then change directors. I'm seeing some creative differences now. I'd rather pull the trigger on this now and part ways now instead of after the movie starts shooting. But still, on the outside, even the most hardcore Star Wars fan has to say, Lucasfilm is looking like a little bit of a house in disarray. Look, even with Rogue One, as great as the movie turned out, in my opinion, there was a lot of stories about, Lucasfilm not liking what Gareth Edwards did. Then the whole situation with Lord Miller, where they parted ways and had to bring in Ron Howard. And now they lose another director for a separate movie, granted, Episode 9. Now, it's not like they've gone through 4 or 5 directors for every single movie, but this is something we're not used to seeing. This is something in Disney, Lucasfilm, in kind of disarray, at least from the outside looking in. Now, the story said nothing about who will now step in and be the director. As a matter of fact, they specifically said that Disney hasn't made that announcement yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that Rian Johnson steps in and does direct Episode 9. Clearly, Lucasfilm and Disney are thrilled with what he's done with Episode 8 so far. We've heard none of the drama, none of the turmoil, none of the creative differences that we've heard surrounding their other projects. Clearly, they love Rian Johnson. Maybe they'll go ahead and get him to do it. Maybe Ron Howard will transition from doing Han Solo directly into doing Episode 9. Don't know. There's a lot of names out there that could be in play at this point. So there are two kinds of ways of looking at this. Number one, maybe Kathleen Kennedy, still being a little bit sensitive as any of us would be over that whole Lord and Miller thing, is thinking, you know what? I'm sensing discord here now. I'm sensing creative differences now. I'm just going to pull the trigger and part ways now. But on the other hand, maybe this is a sign that, hey, things at Lucasfilm are in a little bit of a mess right now. They can't seem to get on the same page with the directors. And that does raise a question. Why can't you get on the same page with your directors before you announce to the world that they're your directors? Shouldn't you be sitting down for weeks of meetings and coming up with an understanding about exactly that you both are on the exact same creative page before launching into it and shooting it? And I've got to wonder right now, as a huge defender of Star Wars, as a huge defender of Lucasfilm, and as a huge fan and defender of Kathleen Kennedy, even I have to ask at this point, why can't you do this part, getting on the same page with your directors, right before it's too late. But who knows, maybe next week they announce that Christopher Nolan is directing Star Wars Episode 9 and everybody will forget about this story. But obviously the most important thing here, guys, is what do you make of all this? Why do you think that this happened? Was it a matter of creative differences? Was it a matter of Kathleen Kennedy being a little bit trigger happy because of what gone on with Lord and Miller and how they kind of got screwed over a little bit with Lord and Miller? Do you think that just maybe Lucasfilm itself is in disarray? Do you think the problem is that Lucasfilm and their executives can't seem and don't know how to get on the same creative page with the directors? Or is it something else entirely? What do you think? Jump into the comments below and leave me your thoughts. Hey, listen, guys, while you're here, take a second, click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel, and also make sure you're following me on social media on Twitter, simply at John Campea. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.